We've been talking about AI-generated content inside of the world of publishing. We've talked about the legal side, we've talked about the ethical side. Let's talk about some different ways that we can be using this, both legally and ethically, inside of our business. And we're going to be chatting with everybody's favorite IP and entertainment lawyer, Tony, right now to find out more about what we can, can't do, shouldn't do, and what's going to work for you to save you time and effort on the marketing side of things for your website, for your blog posts, for your articles, for some of your social media, and more. Let's jump in.
My name is Tony Iliakostas. I'm an adjunct professor of entertainment law and IP at New York Law School, and I have an Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok account called The IP Professor that is dedicated to all things intellectual property.
We've been chatting about how authors can be using AI inside of their publishing industry. I want to talk a little bit about how and when and where and why we should be using AI for generating content for our website, specifically blog posts or articles connected to our author life or related to our books. So from the legal perspective, what does that look like for us, Tony?
So I think we have to remember that, at this point, generative AI platforms like ChatGPT, DALL-E, Stability, Midjourney, all these platforms have provided people with this innovative way of creating content, which I think we can't dispute how innovative AI, generally speaking, is. We also cannot ignore that AI has been around for quite a while. We've seen it in other iterations that have been not conventional to what we've seen now. The AI that I am talking about is like, let's say, predictive texting, where let's say you're writing an email on Outlook or on Gmail. Based on a pattern of how you're writing, the email platform may suggest the next word that you're going to write. This happens to me all the time when I'm using Outlook, where it thinks when I'm going to say, thanks, and then it'll show in gray so much, it's predicting what I might write as like the follow-up or the follow-up words to my sentence. AI has also existed by way of holograms. Holograms have kind of been around at least as early as 2012 or 2013. One of my earliest remembrances of it is when there was an AI version of Tupac, holographic version of Tupac that appeared in Coachella and rapped alongside Snoop Dogg. And it was an actor that was kind of like the body double. There was face modulation that adopted Tupac's face. And it was basically, they used audio samples of Tupac from sound booth sessions and other sound recordings that they had of him to basically allow him to rap alongside Snoop Dogg, all vetted with Tupac estate. So this type of technology has been around. But the problem is that generative AI has, at least in the eyes of the intellectual property space, and more so among lawyers and legal practitioners, generative AI has been viewed as not really a tool, but almost as a replacement for this content creation. And I think that that's where this great divide does take place between pro-AI people and anti-AI people. I don't like to say that they're anti-AI. I think that they're just kind of have disagreements with what AI presents, right? There's this notion that people think AI is no different than Photoshop. It's no different than a canvas. It's just a tool. It's just allowing you to create that work of authorship. Versus the other side of it, which is that people say AI is just, it is the replacement of the person, the human mind, the creativity that is sparked from inside your head that allows you to conceive an image or allows you to write a book or allows you to make anything that would qualify as a work of authorship. So for anyone that's using AI, I think the first step is to understand first and foremost that it's not going to get any copyright protection whatsoever. There's no world, at least broadly across the intellectual property space, where anything AI created will ever be protected under IP. Not under copyright, not under personality rights, unless it's been properly vetted or approved of by, let's say, a person involved in the in that aspect of things. Like, you vetted it with the estate of a dead celebrity, or you even vetted it with a living celebrity, but that's a whole different discussion. Nowhere in the patent world will anything created by AI ever get protection. We don't have that guidance yet for trademarks, but I would bet my bottom dollar that if AI created a trademark logo, that will not get trademark protection. So all that to say, AI right now, at least fundamentally from a legal point of view, it doesn't have the legs to stand on its own 2 feet to warrant any type of IP protection. So if there is someone out there that is using AI, I think that the best route is to treat it as more of a source of inspiration. Going on ChatGPT, instead of asking it to write a blog post, maybe asking it, hey, give me some ideas of topics that are hot button issues in the publishing industry. What are the top 10 genres that would appeal to a modern audience in ages 18 to 35? Having it help you as opposed to doing the work for you is probably what's going to be the most essential part of this process, because now what you're doing is you are manipulating AI to use as a tool. And then from a legal point of view, you're not endangering yourself from now creating an actual work of authorship and not getting it copyright protected. Now you can actually, go to ChatGPT. You can ask it to generate, let's say, a book idea for you for like a genre of, young adult genre book, or maybe a crime story or what have you. You do the work then after ChatGPT suggests something to you. And now, because of your hard-earned energy, because of the time, effort, and money that you spent on writing that book, now that book can be protected under copyright law. If you had the AI platform do the book for you, that's when it's not going to get any copyright protection, because, as we've talked about before, the U.S. Copyright Office's position is that anything created by AI will not get copyright protection because it lacks human authorship that is so essential to making a copyrighted work. So I think that's the perspective that we need to have from this point of view with AI. Legally speaking, there's just no groundwork whatsoever in terms of anything we have that would allow us to say anything created by AI will get copyright protection. The only way that's going to happen is if law passes on it, or even more so if case law emphatically states that anything created by AI will not get protection under copyright law. So right now we just don't have that. It's the wild, wild west. But from what we do have from the minimal guidance that we have from previous case law and even from the U.S. Copyright Office, the stance is pretty clear. Anything created with AI is just not going to get copyright protection. But if you use it to help create your idea that then you execute and express in some form of work of authorship, like a book, like a blog post, like anything else, any other work of authorship, then that creation that you invested the time and effort in doing, that's what's going to get copyright protection.
So let's say authors are going to start using AI to help develop blog posts for their website so that they can bump up their views over on their website. Do you think we need to be extra careful if we are using that to then create content, at least in part or in whole, about our book's characters? Is that going to potentially run risks for us, or is it something that we don't need to worry as much about?
I mean, I would probably venture to say that it's not that bad if you do that. I think one thing to bear in mind is, we don't really have guidance from the Copyright Office of what qualifies as substantial human involvement. So, yeah, I would venture to say that it's got to be pretty substantial for it to qualify as substantial human involvement. I'm of the mindset that maybe it's got to be somewhere over 50% for it to get that protection. That said, I think asking a platform like ChatGPT to help give you like a character biography or background, I think that's a pretty de minimis use of AI in such a fashion that you can take whatever little that AI platform provides you, that then you yourself, the author, can embellish into like a full-on narrative about that character. And that's where your own creativity and your own sense of originality can kind of kick in, and you can have at it with the story. I think that the narrative changes, no pun intended, when you actually have the AI write the story for you. That's when it becomes a bit more problematic, and that's when you're going to enter a little bit more of like murky waters from a copyright point of view when it comes to copyright protection. So I think for what it's worth, that's where that's where I think the distinction kind of lies with that specific issue.
And as always, if you're uncertain what you can and can't or should or shouldn't be doing, and you want to make sure that everything that you're creating is protected in some way, shape, or form, it's always a wise choice to be talking to your lawyer to make sure that you are doing things the ethical way, that you're not going to have any issues copywriting it later on. But blog posts are a little bit different than our books, so take that into consideration as you are deciding how to leverage AI inside of your author career. And stay tuned, because we're giving you examples and ideas of how you can legally and ethically be using AI to help grow and expand your author platform without running the risk of dealing with any legal ramifications with AI use. If you've got questions, drop those down below. Tony's coming back for upcoming episodes. And as always, you can reach out to Tony on his social media. Tony, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at the IP Professor. And you can check out my entertainment law podcast called End Scene with new episodes every Friday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Follow along because we have an entire series both on the legal side of AI and the ethical side of AI with creative uses for how you can be using this to save yourself time and effort and stress and money to get out in that world without causing any potential problems for you that could cost you your publishing career. So if you've got questions on this, go ahead and drop it down below. Follow along because we're giving you really good ways that you can be using this inside of your business. We're getting creative with this. We're getting innovative with this. And I haven't told you yet, but I have found a brand new way to be using this. It's going to revolutionize our entire industry. This is the entire way that we do this. I found a way to cut writing down in half. And I'm going to be bringing it to you. We're doing testing right now, but it's going to be really great. So follow along for more. If you've got questions, let us know. And we're dropping videos to help you navigate the world of writing and publishing and marketing and content creation inside of your publishing business so that this can be your most profitable year ever. So we will see you in the upcoming episodes. But any questions you have before then, drop them now because we're continuing to film those episodes to help you thrive in this space. We'll see you in the upcoming episodes.